Hi everyone and welcome back to WARNO. Today we're going to do a deck build. You'll notice I didn't do a video yesterday. That's because we're having a bit of a heat wave in the UK and it has been so warm, and yesterday it was just way too hot to sit at the computer and have the computer on generating a load more heat. So today we're going to have my first look at the new milestone, because I didn't look at it yesterday when it released. And that will be live on stream later today. I will play maybe a couple of 10v10s or something. We'll see what happens. And then we'll be doing the usual Wargame Wednesday. After that, I will play some Wargame as well. Certainly don't want to forget about it. So, let's do a quick deck build. This is going to be one of those where it's going to get adjusted a lot as I play with it, because there's a few units I just want to try out in this new deck and see how good they are. The Territorialkommando, so the West Germans, do not have a huge amount of choice in logistics. It depends if you like trucks or if you like choppers. You could take a bit of both. I really hate choppers. I like getting them shot down, so I'm just going to stick 2 stacks of the Mancats in there. Which means that I've not got a lot of supply, which is a little bit disconcerting. I really wish this game had fobs, but never mind. I'm then going to take the little truck, purely because you get 4 of them instead of 3, the little bit of extra armor, maybe getting close to where it's worth it now, but at the moment I'm going to stick with the little truck. Moving on to infantry, well, there's plenty of choice here at least, and it's all 1-point activation slots all the way through. This is crazy. So I'm going to go straight for the pioneers. We like them. They've got such a charge is still very good. You do have to be stood pretty close to the enemy to be doing the damage, and you have to be stood still, see, static. But obviously they still do a high amount of damage. You get 9 of them. We're taking a squad of those. Now the nice thing about this deck is you can take a second stack of pioneers if you so wish, or you can take a second stack of pioneer flams as well, and that's exactly what I'm going to do, because those hand flam patrons still very good. So I'm going to take 2 of those. Now you've got plenty more choices here. You've got the Pioneer Armburst, which obviously has a fast rate of fire on that 13 penetration weapon. I think these guys are very good for getting up to the front lines and taking out incoming enemy vehicles, especially when someone's trying to do a push on you with lots of light vehicles. So I'm going to take a stack of those as well. I'm not going to rank them up. I want as many as possible. You then get access to the usual Heimatsuchen and the Sicherungs. Now these guys are obviously great as cannon fodder. Both very cheap squads, the Sicherungs in particular, good against infantry, not much else. We will take them for cannon fodder. The Heimatsuchen are like a cheap version of the Jaeger. Very similar, they've got the same squad size, they've got the same weapons. The only difference is they do not come remotely trained, which means that they are in higher quantity. You get 12, and here you get 9 of the Jaeger. I mean, this is completely arbitrary, I suppose. The Jaeger are obviously better because they're better trained. They automatically come in with train. However, the Heimatsuchen, you get 3 more of them per stack. So it depends how much cannon fodder you want. You've already got the Sicherungs. You could drop the Sicherungs and take the Heimatsuchen instead. I'm actually going to stick some Jaeger in there. I'm just going to bring them in the truck. I'm not bothered about the armoured vehicle. And I'm going to move on, because there's more exciting things here. So now we're getting onto the stuff where I'm kind of like, ooh, this is stuff I might just want to try out. So first you got the Green Berets. Now these have a reasonable amount of weapons. They've got the AT4. The problem is they're only a strength 6, which doesn't really do it for me. They come in a Humvee, which isn't bad. They can come in a Black Hawk. I'd consider them because they look like a decent squad, but they're just so small a squad is my issue. But obviously they're quite well trained. Then you get the Commander Aeromobiles, which just come with FAMAS. They're only a 6-man squad, you get 3 of them, but I don't care. We're not touching those with a barge pole, and we're ignoring the previous commanders as well. We'll get on to the good commander in a minute. Now, these guys I quite like the look of. FAMAS, AANF1, and the EPILAS. The EPILAS has 21 penetration and a rate of fire of 20 per minute. That's double most RPGs. What is this? So, that's crazy. Look at the damage output on that. I mean, I've got to be honest. I think we're going to go with these guys just to see what they're like. I really hate that they're coming in a chopper only. But at least we can sell the chopper. So, I'm going to take those guys, and I'm not going to rank them up, because I just want all 9 of them. Now, anti-tank wise, you get the M40A1, which is your anti-tank gun. You get the Milan one, which is your other missile. And you get the Milan 2. Now, Milan 2 is great, and I really want them in the deck. But look at that. They only come in as Super Puma as well. I mean, they're going to be fast to the front line, but makes them really expensive to bring in. I'm going to try it, because I'd rather have the Milan 2 than the Milan 1. But I might end up switching that out for something else after trying it and finding I don't like it. Commanders, we're taking these guys. Green Berets, because they get Colt Commandos ×9. They get 3 M249s, and they get the Flash Anti-Infantry Launcher. They're a 12-man squad. That's obscene. They can defend themselves against an onslaught. Yeah, you're going to need anti-air with them. And yeah, you're probably going to need anti-vehicle. But in terms of just a squad that can truly defend themselves versus other infantry, that's really good. I mean, these guys, I would be happy on the front line in a town, buffing other troops around them. Maybe that's just me. And then you've got one little activation point slot left. I'd be tempted to take more Jaeger, just to fill up that slot. I think that's what we'll do. Could be that you end up taking more anti-tank, because this deck doesn't have many tanks, but we'll go with that for the minute. We'll see how far we get. Plenty of infantry though. Loads of infantry. Okay, artillery. Not really spoilt for choice here, considering I thought these guys would have more in the grand scheme of things. I don't know why, because they did tell us what they would get access to. I'm going to take the Tampellas because I like something that can smoke. And out of these two, I mean, it's a howitzer, but it's not great. I mean, just take the 155mm just to say you've taken something, but will I ever call it in? Not until they fix artillery, which is coming. They are going to fix artillery next. Okay, tank deck. Let's keep it really simple. Cannon Jagdpanzer, because if you can get them close to the enemy, they will do a lot of damage to enemy tanks. And they're decent for infantry support. I'm going to take this Milan 2 on a little truck, because I want more anti-tank, because my tanks are crappy. And you get 9 of them, and they're really cheap. It's a missile. It'll do. I'm going to take that because it's the only tank commander we have available. There's this thing which has the 90mm cannon, which isn't the best range, but it has 2 machine guns. I'm appreciating the 2 machine guns, because it means it's better against infantry. But that said, this does more HE damage, it's got a longer range, it's slightly slower rate of fire, but I'm going to stick 2 of those in. And then I'm going to come back and maybe stick another stack of those in. I'm really not too fussed about the 90mm. And maybe stick it in there to try it and see if it's any good. But, I mean, these are cheap enough. Recon, well, you got quite a bit of choice here. You got the Green Archer, which is, you know, your usual radar, exceptional optics, blah, blah, blah. You got the Aufklärer. Jaeger Aufkl. Why wouldn't you? 11-man squad. Then you've got these guys, which are the FS Jaeger B1. And they have the satchel charges, decent weapons, and they're an 8-man squad. I quite like that, so I'm going to stick those in as well. And then you got the AMX-10, which we are definitely taking. So look at the penetration on that. 17. That is a huge amount of damage. It's got fantastic accuracy. It's got fantastic range. This should be popping enemy vehicles at range pretty accurately. It's not got the armor of a tank, but it's got the damage output of a tank. And it's pretty reasonably priced. Especially considering it's got good optics as well. So it should get a shot off before the enemy see it. Let's move on. We might come back to add something else there. So, AA, Eyehawk. 1, 2. 2 sets of Eyehawks, why wouldn't you? And I'm going to try the new Flak Bullfours, just because it's got a decent range against helicopters and it's not radar. Here, the Fliegerfaust is just not great, but it is an option. But I just doesn't do it for me. I'd rather have Stingers, and they're not in this deck. The Roland 2 and the Roland 3. The Roland 2 was great when it wasn't radar. Now it's radar. I'm not convinced by it. I'd rather have the Roland 3 if I was going to take one. But at the moment, I'm going to move on, because I think that's enough AA for most games. So, Helos, I'm going to take something here. I'm going to take the Hot 2. Because more anti-tank for the fact that we don't have the best tanks. You know, it's got a decent range, it's got very good accuracy and good damage. And I'm kind of going to take the cannon. It's only got one cannon on, wish it had two, but I just want that for a little bit of harassment, maybe killing enemy spies that get around the back, things like that. Cheap to call in. Let's move on to air. We've got some fun stuff in air. So the first thing is the jumping right down to the bottom. Ignore all that for a minute. F111F LGB2. This is a GBU 10 times 4. That's fantastic. We are taking that. That's absolutely outstanding. I don't know if you've seen this. My friend sent me some pictures, Grigory, who sometimes helps me with the videos. The damage output on this thing is crazy. So we're definitely taking that. Starting back at the top now, you got this thing which has a decent Vulcan cannon. It has a really, really, really high speed. Look at that. Really high speed. Problem is, it's only got 2 bombs. It's pretty cheap. Could you use it against choppers? Maybe, but it's not going to be ideal. The F4FAA isn't bad, but it's not long range. Really, for anti-air, you're going to go straight for the Mirage 2000C RDI, which has a long range missile. It is, unfortunately, semi-active radar, not fire and forget, but it's the best you get, so you're going to take it. Then you've got 2 choices of HE bombers here, as well as the one at the top. I quite like taking something like this, which has 12 227 kilogram bombs. This one has 5 450 kilogram bombs. Bigger blast, but blast radius isn't great right now, and that's something that hopefully they'll be working on with the artillery stuff. So I'd actually take the one with smaller bombs, because I feel like it's going to do more damage overall right now, a bit like the bomblets do in the MW1. I could be wrong, but I'm just going with that assumption. I'm also going to take the Mirage 5F cluster, because it's nice to have a cluster, and these are quite big cluster bombs. They're new ones, we've not seen those ones before. I've got loads of points left. So I'm going to take the 4F4AT as well, because again, we don't have the best tanks. So anything that's going to be good against tanks at the minute, I'm just taking on the basis that I might use it. We'll see how it plays this side. Then in terms of other stuff, let's go back to artillery with nothing there. Let's take some more tanks. Let's take the 90mm cannon one just to test it. Let's have a look here. The Recon. Do we take some more Recon and that calls us quits? Yeah, let's do that. Let's take... Do I take that to try it because of exceptional optics? I'm going to take it to try it because I want to try out the exceptional optics. I'm not sure it's going to work out how I want it to, because I still think that Recon needs adjusting in the game, but I'm going to try it. Maybe I'll surprise myself. Fine, so that's the deck. Let's quickly whiz back through. Mancat ×2 and an Iltis. Then we've got Pioneer Squad, 2 Pioneer Flams, Pioneer Armburst, Zischerungs for cannon fodder, 2 squads of Jaeger, not ranked up. Then we've got the Aeromobiles, Milan 2, and the Green Berets, which are obviously the commander here. Artillery, we've just gone for some Tampelas and a couple of 155mm cannons. Tanks, we've gone for the Cannon Jagdpanzer, because I think they're quite good at harassment. Then we've gone for the P4 Milan little Jeep, because anything that's anti-tank in this deck is good, because we don't have the best tanks. We've gone for the only tank commander available, and then we've gone for 3 stacks of the 75-point M48, because of its range and the size of the gun. Simple as that. Then for Recon, we've gone for the Jaeger Aufkul, the FS Jaeger B1, the AMX-10, and the Green Archer to try it out. Anti-air, just 2 sets of Eyehawks and the new Bofors cannon. Helos, we've gone for a Gazelle Hot 2, again, more anti-tank for not the best tanks, and a Gazelle cannon. And then air-wise, we've gone for the LGB2, the Mirage 2000C, the F4FHE2, the Mirage 5F cluster, and the F4FAT. It's going to be a deck that things are going to change in, because I need to test some of this stuff out, especially the infantry tab and the recon. So we'll see. I might adjust things. Gives us a nice basis for a deck, and that's what I'll be trying out today, I think. Thanks for watching, everyone. Please do like, share, and subscribe. Stay tuned for the rest of the week. We will be doing more WARNO. I will be doing some testing in this version of the game and everything else, and putting up a video for that. And I will hopefully be live streaming a little bit of this later, and maybe later in the week as well. Because they've now added tactical servers to this, so it'll be interesting to see those 10v10 tacticals in WARNO, just like we have in Wargame. Obviously, I will be playing some Wargame later tonight, as I said as well. Have a great day, everyone. I hope it's not too hot where you are. Stay hydrated. I'll see you all soon.